Cool. Hi, guys.
Hey.
She started recording. Yeah. What's up?
Just, another day in paradise.
We put on makeup today, so it's a good start.
Yeah, I got a lip color going because I looked like a corpse otherwise.
Yeah, for me it's quite a little bit early here, so I really needed to do some makeup, and I pretend that I have clothes by stealing my boyfriend's sweaters. So I really don't. And we're getting into winter here, which is crazy. So what are we going to talk about, Emily?
We're going to talk about
you there that I see.
I'm starting to blend into the wall more and more as the weeks go.
Yes.
We're going to talk about shopping and consumerism today. Fun things.
Yes. Well, I don't think I have consumed basically anything since the lockdown. If I had been in America, I probably would have gone on Amazon a little bit much to buy some. I know I checked, like, can I order stuff in New Zealand, like workout stuff, which I know because I've been reading a lot, are the things that people are still buying, is like home wellness stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
Apart from that, not like food, and that's it. What about you guys?
Go ahead,
Em.
Oh.
I'm happy to go.
Go for it.
I ordered, Amazon definitely is still something that I've been not utilizing. I mean, I've ordered bits and bobs for the house that I've needed, but nothing huge. I've not been drawn to anything really. The one thing, okay, here's something. I have been craving books. Like, there's been tons of books that I've wanted because obviously we have time on our hands, and I've really wanted to. I've always had a reading habit, but I've wanted to get back into it. But because Amazon is prioritizing like the things that people need immediately, you can't get a book for like 2 to 3 weeks on Amazon, and all bookstores are obviously closed. Or maybe smaller book chains. I feel like Emily's like raising her hand. I'm sure if I'm ordering books on like a smaller store.
I'm not saying that. You need a Kindle because then you don't have to wait.
Oh, yeah, no, you're not wrong. But some of the books I wanted to order, like I ordered Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Like I want the cookbook, that kind of stuff. I didn't order it because it was sold out, but like I wanted a Kelly Wearstler book, and like you want the physical book. I also cannot read on a Kindle. I've tried it. I have one. It just has been a catastrophe. But I've been really craving books. And then the other day I had to go into Target to get like, my 1 week shopping of like, toilet paper and that kind of stuff. I'm not hoarding toilet paper, but every once in a while you do fucking need it. And so I go into Target and I'm wandering around Target for like 45 minutes because I don't want to leave. I'm not buying anything. I just liked being in a store of like consumerism. And I found their book aisle, and they all, Target's like is basically Oprah's book club and self-help books. And honestly, being in a book aisle felt like heaven to me. There was not one book in that book aisle that I really wanted to buy, but it was just like being around books when I had been craving them and didn't have access to them. It was such like a strange feeling. So that was the biggest like zing of consumerism that I experienced, which I'm proud to say was around books.
Mine was about chocolate. I went to,
also great.
I haven't been moving a lot. My boyfriend usually goes and gets the food. And actually, it's interesting because here our level 4 lockdown was much more drastic than your lockdown. So everything is really closed. Only food stores were open, and not all of them and all that. Anyway, there's this store that's basically like kind of a mini Erewhon, if you will. And at some point I went in there and it felt like I was home. I was like, there was like healthy foods and vitamins and, these beauty products that we love, and like, the Velleda brand and like all these kind of things. And And because like, it was interesting because when I arrived, you know, like I needed a few stuff for like shampoo and all that. And so the first place where I went was one of these big supermarkets, and the only brands that I could find are supermarket brands. And I you know, so I used these things. It was fine actually, but it's just not something that I'm used to, because I like natural products and all that. So it felt like, oh, found myself again. Even though it was kind of funny to, just to finish, like it was kind of funny to have to go buy my beauty necessities in a supermarket. Like the color that I did on my hair was from a supermarket, and probably not so good for me, you know, in terms of the dyes that they use and the ammonia and all that. But it was fun because it reminded me of when I was a kid, you know, and I would have so much fun, like shopping for, I don't know, Maybelline and this kind of stuff.
Totally.
Meanwhile,
so it was a different.
I've been buying so much stuff. Guys, I have a problem. Yeah.
You've been buying a lot of stuff during this?
Kind of. Well, okay, there's a couple of things going on. First, I'm like, I want to try to help everyone. So I'm buying stuff from brands that I'm like, oh, I know they're a small brand and I really like them, so I want to help them. So like we ran out of olive oil like after we were here for a week. So I ordered a bunch of olive oil from Brightland because I was like, oh, small business. That's a good way of supporting, and that's something I need. And then we ran out of coffee, and so I ordered some from Canyon because I thought like, I'm going to support Canyon Coffee rather than buying the coffee at the grocery store. And we bought a couple of cookbooks from a local bookstore in Fort Greene that I love. So V, if you want to buy books, I would definitely recommend a local bookstore.
All right.
So that was it for a while, and then I stopped. And we've been ordering some stuff on Amazon that we need for the house and things like that, because it's easy for us to get packages. But
I know this doesn't sound like a lot to me.
Wait, no.
Yeah, it's nothing. Olive oil and fucking
This week we were here, because then we found out we were getting a tax refund, and I haven't shopped very much in the last year. And then when I found out that the tax refund was coming, I was like, oh, okay, now I can spend more money. So I bought a pair of sneakers from Hypebeast last week, which is
from Hypebeast.
From Hypebeast.
But also because like there is so many. I was looking in my inbox today, and I mean it's sad, but like brands are going 90% off.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
It's so apparent how much they're hurting.
Yeah,
it's terrible, but at the same time, you're like,
yeah,
really cheap.
So like, I might as well check this out. What is going on?
I know. So
I know.
I just bought these sneakers. I didn't really go too crazy with other things, although I really want some fresh sweatpants. So I'm gonna do that soon. But the other stuff that we've been buying, like we bought a new TV for the house the other day. I don't know. We're just going a little bit. I mean, because honestly, because things are discounted right now. So I feel like if it's a time that you need something, it's not a bad time to buy it if you have the money to do so. What else? I bought some CBD from Feels. Just buying all the like things to help me get through. But we get like a delivery to the house like every other day.
It still seems like they're all like like, I don't know, coffee and olive oil. Like I bought those things as well. I just bought them while I was at the supermarket as opposed to like ordering them type of deal. I mean, you haven't bought yourself a full new wardrobe yet. One pair of sneakers.
Not yet, but just wait. I almost bought another pair of sneakers for matches.
Yeah, like, okay. I like that, Em. I'm way freaked out. Like I can't spend, I mean, you know, I'm way freaked out to spend any money right now. Like I'm like, what's going to happen in the world for, you know, if you told me, which you're not going to tell me, oh yeah, it's one more month and then, you know, things will ease out and all that. I'll be like, oh, okay, me too. I need new sweatpants. Or, you know, I wouldn't go crazy, but I would, but right now I'm probably like the average person, and I should help the economy or whatever, but like that's, I have a very animal reaction right now of, you know, only, and that's I think also what Emily's talking, like all the things you need, you bought, you kind of need them for your sanity. Like we're buying a bike today because it's just going to help a lot. So there's things like these kind of things, and I wanted to I mean, those are kind of our personal
Yeah.
ways, but I also wanted to kind of, you know, I think what's interesting is that I'm having a lot of fun. I came here with like a small, I mean, small for me luggage, right? And I'm having a lot of fun, like just taking care of my clothes, washing them, putting. I have like 3 or 4 different outfits that kind of roll with the same every day. It's kind of fun. I enjoy, as you know, the comfort of, you know, indoors clothes and all that. And where I'm trying to go is like, I feel like I'm so happy with less right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pushing me into a direction where I was already going for less for a while. I've been kind of clearing my closets and all that. And also with the background of what's going on in our societies, I think it might actually push me to a much more like consume even less, but also wear things that are more comfortable, which is, you know, that's my style since, you know, for a long time now. But I was talking with my friend. 2 friends told me, I can't wait to get back into my heels and my tight jeans and all that, and to go out and to buy and to all these things. And the only thing that I'm really missing is just traveling. The rest, and like, you know, and good food, like, but that's it. And I so talking a lot, but like kind of my big question is, how do you think people will consume when we're coming out of this? Like, how will you consume? What do you miss? And like, what are you going to want to buy? I'm very, very like, because I'm reading all those things on business of fashion about, you know, people won't want to go into department stores anymore for a long time because they will be scared of the virus and other, you know, it will change the way we consume for sure. But yeah, so that's my big question, because it's really a debate, and it's also a big question for the economy, because brands, all my friends who have brands right now are like, should we, sorry, my email is popping.
Mine. One of our emails is talking.
Yeah, that's mine. Or like, should we start designing like clothes that are for interior? Are people going to stay inside? Are they going to ever travel again? You know, all these kind of things. So I want to have your point of view and anything else that you want to add.
I think in terms of department stores and retailers in general, I don't know about you guys, but I can't remember the last time I walked into a department store or one of these big multi-brand stores like that. I mean, pre-COVID was doing the majority of my shopping online for sure. And for the most part, I go directly to the brands that I know I like and I know that fit me, rather than going to like big multi-brand retailers. I'd say I like Matches for like the discovery aspect. And recently I kind of discovered Verishop because they have like shipping capability that's kind of similar to Amazon. So like you can get stuff really quickly. But besides that, I usually just go online to the brands that I love, or to Zara, let's be honest, because they have a great app to shop through. And I do all my shopping that way. So I do think that what's happening with these department stores and the fact that like some of them are filing for bankruptcy and it's unclear if they're going to be open, I think that was happening already. And this is just accelerating problems and like putting a magnifying glass on problems that already existed from a retailing perspective prior to what is happening right now. That's my opinion.
Yes.
I agree. And I also think in terms of your question of like how people are going to consume after this, I think they're going to consume along, not to the extent that they were consuming before, but I think they're going to consume along the same ways. I don't know how much this is going to change habits. Like for you, who says, you said you'd already been kind of cleaning out your closet, simplifying things, and now you're missing travel. That's what you're missing. Your consumption after this, I'm going to assume once we're able to travel, will probably be more travel than more things. Same with myself. Like I'm really recognizing for the past year, I've bought less and bought better. And I know coming out of this, I'll continue to do that. And same thing for me. The thing that I miss the most is movement of body. And so I definitely will be like, again, travel and restaurants will be back where my money is going to go. And if you look at, when you do a budget and you look at your credit card and they break up your credit card into like, you spent this much on retail, you spent this much on like bills. Mine's always like, you spent 80% on restaurants.
When I lived in New York, it was like that, and now I'm like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I think my credit card's like, where did you go? What happened to you? But I know, I think after this, look, it might not be 80%, but I do think I will continue to consume primarily in a lesser way than I did before, but in the same like percentages of different aspects. It'll just be a little bit less.
I think clothing wise too, I even though I've been buying stuff and I bought these sneakers or whatever, I think I'm still trying to like find those perfect pieces for each thing that I just keep buying over and over again, rather than like looking for something new all the time. So it's more about like continuing to narrow and like have the best pair of jeans, the best, you know, sweatshirt, the best whatever it's going to be. Like my black Porcelli flats are falling apart. So like the next shoe I order will probably be another pair of those Porcelli flats. Like really kind of keeping to that essential wardrobe rather than like ordering a ton of stuff.
Yeah. That's been my way of shopping for I think a while now, with like excursions at Zara, and I'm the same. I'm kind of sad to say it, but they offer something that, you know, few people offer, and I'm excited to see more what Matches does, because there is that sense of like, you know, you get in the app, there is a simplicity, like not an overwhelming number of stuff. You know, I think there is something to be said also about how we help people shop, make it simple for them, and also create kind of appointments. Like I know, and I've known for millions of years, that Zara delivers their new stuff on Thursday. So I know by the end of the week, if I look at what's new in 5 minutes or less, I can see everything that's new, and if I'm interested.
Yeah.
I know that when I go on net, it's more difficult because there is so much and it's in so many directions. So like, I think that, you know, I am like you are, I'm ready like to be a more of an online shopper. And for example, Net-a-Porter is great with their returns, which is always complicated. I know with Zara, it's really easy also because you just drop back things at the store. You have a month, you know, it's just like not, and there are stores everywhere. So there is something like that. You don't have to go to the post office. I don't even know. So, so yeah, I think, you know, you're right. And like in the sense that all these new habits were starting to take root inside of us, like new ways of shopping. I mean, for both of us, I know we've been very much about simplifying our wardrobe for many years, and, you know, getting to our essentials. Basically, wear the same thing now all the time, which is quite funny, just different sizes. But then, yes, the you know, learning, teaching ourselves even more how to shop online and all that was already happening, but now we're, you know, for me, what's still complicated is to do what you're doing, which is, oh, I need oil. I'm going to go to Brightland. I love that brand. And, you know, I you know, and there are many brands like that, like Canyon Coffee or, but it's still hard for me to be like, oh, I'm going to get that coffee there and that thing there. And so, yeah, but it's education. And I also think it's the world of stuff is going to get organized. And we'll be able to shop more, but probably will become harder and harder to go to a store. We would just lose the habit of doing that.
The other thing that I think is interesting, and this is all just me taking a stab, but I think because we're living so digitally now, I think the digital world is super niche compared to like the non-digital world, which is much more kind of like, I don't know, mass in the way that things operate. So I do think that there's an interesting opportunity for like niche curation and niche retailers and things like that, niche brands to really thrive in this moment. And it also makes me think of hyper localization too. Like I do think there might be, I don't know, exodus from cities after this. People are shopping more locally now because you really can't go that far, all of that stuff. So I think there's also an interesting opportunity for like more local businesses to have more support around them. And I know a lot of the local businesses here have started to create like online ordering platforms and things like that that they wouldn't do normally. And so now instead of just going to like the big supermarket, I can order produce from like a farm here because they're now set up to do that. And it's something that COVID has sort of forced them to be able to do. And I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like in everything, there'll be a lot of interesting, at least positive because of what you're saying, that it's opening the doors to, you know, different type of small businesses, new type of initiatives, and all these kind of things. I do think that the online thing, so right now in New Zealand at level 3, we're able to do a curb pickup. And so most stores are putting together apps, or like you can order on their website and then come pick up. Yesterday, we went to the book club, which was open. And there was, so there was like chairs, you know, so that you could enter it. And so there was the guy in front and the books were all in the back. And Graham was like, oh, I want this book for my daughter. He had the name of the book and all that. Do you have it? And the guy was in front of me and was like, you should look on our website. And the store was not big. It was like, you know, one of these small stores where, you know, and we were just going. And of course, like, you know, yesterday was the first day. People are going to be get organized. And some things are actually forbidden by law. Like you can't pay one way or another, blah, blah, blah. But we're also going to get into things like that where human contact, unfortunately, if we train ourselves, like, you know, to forget what it is, we're really going to like this yesterday when we came out and we're like, oh, let's see how level 3 feels, and it was very underwhelming.
You're like, let's go back to level 3. Like maybe I'll just turtle myself back into my shell, I guess.
I'm turning myself back into level 4 for now. I'm like, I'll just come up when it's level 2 and things are actually kind of, but I'm sure level 2 is also because it's going to be one of these where restaurants are open, but you can only sit like, you know, really far. You're going to be in a restaurant and you're going to be like, oh God, what am I doing here?
Yeah, you're like, it's more depressing because you can't actually like feel like you're at a restaurant. I mean, I noticed that just walking around New York, in terms of human interaction, because now 95% of everybody's wearing masks 24/7 outside New York, and it's you have to wear masks.
And you always feel, when people are wearing masks, you always feel like they're judging you. Yeah. You can see their face and they're looking at you.
That's what I was gonna say. At first, when like only 25 to 30% of the population, before it was mandatory to wear masks, was wearing masks, like you could kind of notice people's cheekbones contracting under the mask, and you're like, oh, they're smiling at me. Like it was so funny when I noticed what was happening, that I was trying to recognize other facial recognitions in people with a mask, where I'm like, oh, the mask moves a little bit when someone's smiling or talking, like you catch up really quickly. Which is so crazy to me. But yeah, no, the human interaction, I was kind of shocked in terms of, I mean, again, I go to the market once a week and stuff like that. And the interaction that you have with people there is not as like, you know, outwardly friendly as one might expect going through this. I think we're all a little bit timid and scared and don't know how to interact with each other yet. And I'm curious if that's going to get worse or better, or like what kind of trajectory that the stranger interaction is how that's going to take place.
Yeah, well, that's why it's like, oh, how because like apparently, I don't know, but like apparently like this social distance and all that. I mean, my beautiful health store allows 5 people in the store at all times, and it's totally fine because it's really small, and so you actually feel like you're in normal situation. And they've been able to go through all the you know the lockdown, and I don't know really how it works, but anyway, it's really nice. But I mean, being in a bookstore, browsing through stuff is basically going to be over for a while. And I feel like, or like going to the market and like touching the veggies and all this kind of stuff, like all these things that are, you know, the fabric of our life, but also, you know, because that's our subject today, of consuming stuff, or, you know, this interaction with the yesterday yesterday was a big day. We went to a place called Bella Italia. It's like we'll say like a deli, and usually they have tables and all that. And the woman that served us was very Italian and very warm and funny and all that. Oh my God, I could have stayed there all day, just talking with her about, cheese and things like that. So all I'm trying to say is that at the moment when it's most needed, we can't do that anymore. And when you get to a coffee shop and you're like, can I have a coffee? And the guy's in front of you and he's like, well, you have to go through the app. And now you have to download an app and you don't have Wi-Fi and it's like Kafka and all that. You're just like, what is the world we're going to leave behind us?
You know what, though, listening to you talk right then, I do realize the type of consumption I do miss is the browsing. I miss browsing because I found like a bookstore browsing or a really well curated store for me is like a really nice moment of creativity or like sparking creativity. And I miss that kind of like walking through a neighborhood and going in and out of stores. And maybe sometimes I walk away with one thing. Maybe sometimes I just walk away with a coffee that I pick up. But that kind of like what would you call that? Like window shopping? I miss window shopping.
Yeah, like the browsing, I think for me, it's just, shopping is, I mean, we often criticize consumerism, but it's a beautiful experience, like, going to a store, like smelling, I don't know whether it's the vegetables or perfumes that are there, like touching beautiful cashmere, like, all these things, like seeing people around, like all these things are actually, they've been there for centuries and are so important that I feel like it's not coming back the way it was, for sure. And I don't even know how people do like farmers market and all that. It must be quite complicated right now. I don't even know if it works. Yeah. And I would say, hopefully, what you're saying, localism, which I love the idea of, will also come back with the sense of knowing your small business, being able to browse, being able to touch, being able to talk with the person. So that's like shopping online is just never going to be the same. The same way that my friends, and I don't know how you guys have felt, started this quarantine by doing a ton of Zoom apéro and all that, and now everybody's like, you know what, I don't want to do another one. It's fucking lame. I'm alone. This is the truth. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't done many, but that's the same feeling I feel. It's like, shopping online is a good everyday stuff, but like you still need actual contact, that's what makes us human.
Yeah,
of course. And like the experience of buying something too, it really is like, whether it's like a souvenir for some place or like the experience that you had while buying it is like the entire package sometimes of what you're then
and that's what built our cities. It's the exchange between people. So like, and that's exactly comes back to what you were saying. It's like, well, with that, if people come out of cities and all that, so this will make sense. But like, humans have built cities since forever because they need commerce and they need to be able to meet somewhere. So when that is not here anymore, I don't know, maybe I'm going too philosophical, but we're going to need to rethink that, because I would be very sad imagining center cities without a heartbeat, stores, cafes, restaurants, and all that.
The one thing that I'll say about this is, when we went to Japan over the holidays, I really enjoyed shopping there in stores in a way that I hadn't in a really long time, because everything felt unique to that place. Like, you can't find a lot of the Japanese brands and things like that online. So it would be interesting to see if things like that, I don't know if that would happen, but it makes me want to travel. It makes me want to go there and like have that experience.
I'm old enough that when I started traveling, you were actually bringing back stuff. I never bring back anything because the center of cities are exactly the same. Whatever I can find in Tokyo, I can find in New York, I can find. But it used to be where you had a list of things and you would send it like, and I think that's something that we lost in the last 15 years, like, you know, as, you know, globalization and all that, and all these, you know, and so like whether it's in the luxury or like the high street, you know, market, like it's the same stores everywhere.
Yeah.
Small mom and pop stores are gone, you know, and except for a few wonderful exceptions, like in, you know, we were just at 4510, you know, like places that actually have an identity and all that. So I hope that maybe, I mean, I don't know, that would be a dream if this crisis could bring us back to something better, more curated, more personal, with more personality, and also more adapted to the culture. And, you know, you want to go to Japan and bring something that you can't find anywhere else.
Well, on that note, this was a great conversation, guys.
A little depressing, but good.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We'll see.
It's interesting.
We don't have the answer.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to think about what it may look like.
Yes, I agree.
Well, good to see your faces.
Big kiss, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.